This is a good marketing tactics. We have the interview of Prashanth Neel talking about Dragon just after when they have released the Dragon glimpse. If you haven't seen the reaction, it's on the channel. Check it out. Again, he's building up a different world, taking real history, and it looks very exciting with all the cast he has got together. Of course, Junior and Tia leading it. So we have a special interview with BR, and I'm sure it's going to be fun. I think he loves talking to BR. That's why he's always the one. He always gives interviews to him directly, one-on-one. So let's see what's in store for us. Again, this is a reaction or a substitute. If you haven't seen the original upload, I'll put the link in the description. Check it out there. Here I'll be pausing, talking, sharing my thoughts in the middle. So without any delay, let's hear him out. Okay, this was the night of the birthday, I guess. The devil. I've been to a theater like that. Look at that craze. All right.
Hello, Prashanth Neel. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So, the teaser of Salar was released at a particular time, 5:12 a.m. on July 8th, and there was a fan theory
Okay.
that was the day Rocky Bhai died in KGF 2. Now, the first look of Dragon is being released one day before the midnight of NTR's, the hero's birthday. Of course, that is one reason for the timing of it.
What is the other theory? I have no idea. I've not been on social media since the Dragon glimpse dropped. So I'm sure there will be some. And now, basing how historically they can coexist in a universe, it could be a connection.
Particular asset being released at this particular time. But is there any other secret reason? Like something that is.
Absolutely not. It's last year we were supposed to put out a teaser on his birthday, but there was a movie that was up for release, Devara, and
Okay.
he requested me not to put it on that day. And I said, okay, this year we'll have to put out a full-blown glimpse trailer, whatever you want to call it, for his birthday. It's only for his birthday.
It's only for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I heard that you wanted this to be a celebration, but in a very different way. In the sense
Okay.
that you got really big offers to commercialize this trailer, but you said, I don't want to do any of it. I just want
In what
to release
way?
it in theaters and on YouTube and not have any ads on it and just put it out there on
Oh, okay.
the things.
Like some trailers, they put a ad for something in the start and the end. Like some trailers, I think Triple R also had that. I guess that's they get a lot of paid money because a lot of views will be on the trailer, right? So it's a good marketing place to do something market. Of course, Gallata Plus does that too.
For NTR and NTR's fans. Is that how you saw it?
So this is the first time we're giving out any information from the movie.
Yeah.
So I
That's
didn't want
true.
anything to come in the way of that. It shouldn't all of a sudden. I mean, you basically start telling a story that people want to be intrigued by, and
That's true.
I thought it was best not to put anything in between what we were trying to tell and what the people were listening.
Yeah.
So there was
Good decision.
there's nothing else to it. Aesthetically, I just wanted to be just about our movie Dragon.
Now again, this is coming out the night of
Look at the setup, man, for the interview.
NTR's birthday. And usually when you put out something celebrating an actor, in Indian tradition, right, it is something celebrating the hero, you have the mass moments from the film, so to speak, that kind of thing is what happens. But you, Prashanth Neel, have done something very different. You are introducing us to the time period, the era. It's an almost documentary-like feel of the British era, of what the film is about, who the characters are. What made you decide that, yes, I am going to celebrate my hero in this trailer or first look, but before that, I'm going to fully lay out what the world of this movie is, at least to the extent possible.
Sure, yeah, it was traditionally, even I also in my previous movies have put out content celebrating the hero of the movie without putting the content. And this time we made a conscious effort of, because it's the first time that we are coming out, and I wanted
Because before this, we had rumors before anything else that they shot it and they are not happy with it and they are doing it again. And like, considering they have a lot of footage already, they kind of showed us in very quick glimpse. They have shot a lot of it, so I'm not sure if that rumor is true or not.
Everyone to know the story that we were telling.
Right.
And also celebrate the hero. So that was a conscious effort, and I laid out this plan, and we spoke up. Me and the hero spoke, and he said it was a good idea to introduce everything together at the same time. And I think today the audience is ready to hear the story.
Yeah.
Before they come to the theaters. It was a very old tradition for all of us to hide our stories. Now, if I tell you a story, everybody wants to know how it happened.
Right.
So I think we have reached a phase where, Hollywood does this all the time. They give you probably the entire story, a few scenes. It's probably something that has changed in me also, that I want to entice the audience for the story, not just the visibility of a very grand movie that we are making, but I want to tell them that there is a story that we are telling.
Yeah.
And also it gave me the opportunity, because this movie has many layers to it. And I don't want to cut a trailer which is 9 minutes next time. So this time I have told you the world that we are building. It's like I'm telling you which stadium we're playing in.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the pitch conditions and all of those things. So
nice analogy.
the next time I will tell you the drama. So it becomes easier for me to tell you the drama. It's like if you watch Ramayana, you already know what has happened in Ramayana. Still you go and watch the movie. But if I start by introducing Rama, or if I start by introducing Ravana, you already know what I'm talking about. Right. So this syndrome is always a part 2 syndrome. Usually when you are watching the trailer of a part 2, you already know the world, you already know the characters, you already know all of those things.
Interesting.
This time we didn't want to wait for another year. We just wanted to tell the audience that, this is the kind of movie we are making, and this is the world we are building around it. So it becomes much more easier for us next time when we want to put out our content.
So that's an interesting way to go about it. That I think that sometimes Hollywood does that. The first trailer will just give you a feel of what to expect. Then we get more plot details, and the last trailer is they give you more action, and that has been a tradition which is now changing. And nowadays you see a lot of trailers show you a lot of things, right? Instead of what they have done, they also have shown you a lot of what the world is, where the story is going to happen, where the characters belong to. As you said, the stadium where we are playing in, you have the address now, the history they are taking from, like, you get a lot of context. And now just imagine the next trailer, which is the characters having discussion, dialogues, what they are telling each other. Now we'll have a context. If you directly drop that one first and we have no idea what these guys are talking about, then it becomes you're confused. So it's better to first introduce the world with the first trailer, and whenever the next thing comes out, we understand where this is all happening, and we get the context of what's happening when we get to know more about the plot.
Your hero is introduced as the very last character after a very large number of cast is revealed. And it's a very dramatic introduction. It's your camera flies over a whole
dead
series
bodies,
of like dead people, corpses, and then you see this cutout like hero at a distance, and then you go closer and he's introduced as Luger, the assassin in chief. What made you say that? Because obviously you've shot a lot of what you call mass visuals around NTR. What made you say this is the visual that is going to open my hero to the audience?
So we joke about something, but I have taken it very seriously, that we say we have cast the most expensive villain in the history of Indian cinema. So that's the way we're looking at him. Okay. He knows that is the character he's playing, and we didn't want to hide that fact.
Right.
There are mass moments that we could have easily presented him in, but that's the story.
Yeah.
That's the story. I told you we don't want to mislead the audience in what we're showing. He's one of the villains of the Afghan trading company.
Yeah.
And that's the way
That is exciting, man. I said my trailer reaction also, that the glimpse reaction, whatever you call it. I said there, like, I want it to be a story focus, not hero focus. And if he's saying that he's playing the villain, actually, that makes it very interesting that a big hero, is willing to play in a big film a villain character and not the hero or anti-hero, or he's not going to be the sole character of it. Like, a lot of things will happen. If he's a villain, the villain loses, right? So, or maybe this villain wins, who knows?
We wanted to portray it also. So there were many ways that I could have done it, but the reflection of the character has to come out in the first look, is what the idea was.
Yeah. Going out of Dragon for 1 second, you get this opportunity to say, I'm Prashanth Neel, NTR is there, we're doing a film together. There are many ways you can fashion a movie for a hero like that who has a mass following. What made you say, this is the relatively dark world that I want to bring my hero into? And when you first told him about this, what was his reaction to that?
So 5 years back we met 5 years back.
Okay.
And
now some flashback story we have to go into.
when I told him the line of the movie, I'm not going to be presumptuous of the fact that I want to be humble all the time, but I think this is probably one of the most difficult decisions that he had to take to play this character, not because of what is there in the trailer, but what the drama of the movie is. And
okay. That is a bold choice for a big star to say, I'll play the villain of the film. As he said, right, he's the most expensive villain ever casted.
It was probably one of the biggest decisions that he had to make to play this particular role. And you'll know by the end of when the story is told why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
And it's a dark character. Obviously, it's a dark character. It's probably more darker than all the characters that I've written till now.
Okay.
It is the darkest character that I've written.
But what do you mean by dark? Like, just for the aesthetics, or does he does something which is darker, which is he cannot be redeemed? He does something evil that that makes him the villain. It should not be that he just kills people, so that's why he's the villain.
And for him to play something like that, for him to think about it, the only question that he asked was, for every character that is either right or wrong, is the drama right for it? Is there a reason behind it? And we came up with that reasoning over the next 3 years. It took us 3 years to get to a scene that I'd written at the end of the movie.
Okay.
And to arrive at that point, for me to validate why this character does what he does.
Right.
It took me 3 years just to pen it down. And at the end of that, he said, well, let's do it. Even if it is a risky thing for me to do. And it is very, very risky for a star of his magnitude. And he's loved all over the country, all over the world. For him to have accepted to do that, I think was the most difficult decision. And you'll probably know that I'm not exaggerating what I'm saying now. By the end of the story, you'll understand why I feel that.
I just hope this doesn't backfire, because I trust him when he says this. Like, whatever I understood of him over the years, with his interviews, with his films, he says what he does. It's not he says something else and he does something else. So when he says that, I trust him. I just hope it doesn't backfire.
What he's doing is absolutely very brave.
I have no doubt, Prashanth, because by now, the few conversations that I've had,
Same.
I think you are very measured in your words, but you're also very precise in what you say.
No.
So I think you're always, I take you very seriously, and I look forward to how you're going to shape this character and justify the darkness. But I also want to know, the name Luger, is that of a gun, a pistol?
Yeah.
Is that a deliberate kind of...
Yes.
Okay.
He's named after a gun, Luger PP08.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Do you want to talk about that?
It's probably something that you will see in the movie.
You'll see in the movie. Okay, done. You spoke about the darkness. Now, KGF, the Prime Minister calls him the biggest criminal in India. In Salar, we get the character described as a madman. Here, he's an assassin. It's like this trilogy of great characters that you've built around big heroes. First, I want to know what draws you to these morally characters who exist a little bit on this side of the shade that we usually don't see big heroes
Okay.
in.
So I don't know any other way for me to put this. I've always said that if I want my heroes to look bigger, the villains have to be bigger.
Yeah.
The canvas has to be bigger. That's why you find the most number of movies in the world today made on World War II. The reason for that is because of that great backdrop.
Right.
Interesting.
And I've been fascinated by movies that were made with the World War II as their backdrop, and it instantly gave you a drama. So usually, with all the stories that I've made till now, and you can call this the last of my trilogy. I mean, no disrespect to people involved with it, but this is the last time I'm going to visit a genre like this.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
For me, I had to tell these three stories. All three stories are very different. It might look the same because of the palette I usually use, but all the three of
He knows what people talk about his cinematography and the look of his films.
them are very different from one another when it comes to drama. And I think about the drama as much as I think about just presenting a hero in darkness.
Yeah.
I think about the drama very much.
You have said that you think of yourself as a writer before a director.
Yeah, more so this movie more so than before.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You tend to evolve.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the three characters I've written, Rocky, Devan, and Luga, they are very different in the sense that they have different reasons for why they arrived to becoming this, very dark character. So all three of them have very different reasons for being that. But as a writer, if you're not justifying that as you go on, then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just feels. I know people have said me that my movies are repetitive, but they aren't. I know it.
Okay.
It's not. Probably the look of it makes it seem like that, but then they're not. They're all three different emotions, and I stick to the emotions and I listen to myself.
It's interesting because I've heard a lot of people who maybe found Solar okay and fine and didn't like it later. Like over time, they have kind of grown on it. Like they have watched it again and they liked it more and better, and it works better later on. Like there were a few things which I felt like the action, like I would have liked more grounded action with the hero, like Prabhas, but they do the same thing of cutting away and him just walking in slow motion and people are just flying out. Like that became a little too much. It wasn't fun. And I think the world he creates, the drama he creates, the whole placing of the coins on that thing and the voting and like the concept he comes up with, right? He creates this world where he can do something like this. It's so fun and entertaining. But I felt the balancing of the character with the drama was little, like it was just too much talking that what Deva can do, and we don't get to what Deva can do very late, and that the whole zombie stuff also I was not a fan of. But overall, like it's a very fascinating thing, and I think he took that criticism that he will give Prabhas more dialogues in the second part, where because there was so less dialogues he has through the movie. It's just other people talking about him. So it is still a fascinating world, and it is very different than Rocky Bhai. It is very different than KGF, what KGF was. So I don't believe that they are the same thing and it's just making the same story again. That's not the case at all.
More than I listen to anybody else.
Yeah.
And the drama works for me. And if it works for me, that is why I will be convinced to come and present it to you.
Right. Now again, did you ever consider a PCU, Prashanth Neel Cinematic Universe, given the fact that you see these three films as a trilogy?
I never saw it that way. The only reason I didn't see it that way was there are three stars, there are two producers who are involved in this, and it never allowed me to think like that because I don't know how to put in something that I hadn't designed before.
Yeah.
That is a good question, and I wanted to know this answer.
And honestly, I mean, many people told me that because other directors were doing it, and of course in Hollywood they've been doing it for decades, that I thought about it once, but I could never, put it together. I could never put it together.
So you don't see things like a crossover or anything like
I think I will be doing it only for money.
Okay.
By that, I mean, I love money, but
He has said that before.
I don't know where the drama is going to come from.
Okay. But you're not averse to the idea. If there is a possibility.
I'm not averse to the idea, but
It's not organic.
the franchise syndrome right now is not something that I'm too fond of.
Yeah.
Because you're basically stuck in the same story, in the same loop. If I attempt to do something like that, it's going to take the next 5 years of my life too.
and you did say that this is the last of your your trilogy, so to speak. Now,
so the reason why I said it's the last of my trilogy is, all three movies have.
That's a very interesting thing. Yes, like this is why I love his interviews, because he's a very different guy, and you don't get to hear from him again and again, or you don't get to know from him what he thinks like. So when you get an interview like this with someone competent like BR to ask him right questions, so he can give you the right answers, you want to hear.
All three movies have a beginning only after the independence of India.
yeah.
I always saw that, as just a student of stories itself, I saw that was always an opportunity that, things could have gone any which ways, because there was a free India at that point of time.
Yeah.
And all these three stories evolve only after India got its independence. So that was an idea that, always stuck with me, that, that there were so many possibilities back then. I mean, I'm not saying that I should think like a criminal always, but there were so many possibilities back then. So that was a very fascinating period for me.
Right. The year that's mentioned here is 1967. It's very clearly, why start in that particular year?
There's no reason for it to start in that particular year.
Okay.
The story starts in 1947. And 1967 is when the drama is going to unfold.
Yeah, I thought maybe because
historically
there's a war around that period and things like.
There is a history to it, but something that it's too early for me to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. Let's talk about the world, right? You are very, very particular about the world that you set the films in. They are kind of semi-mythological worlds, the way I look at it. You have Mughal in Ugram, you have Khansar in Salar, you have the gold fields in
it's called Narachi in KGF.
Yeah, it's called that. And here, I don't know what it's called yet, but what fascinates you to create these worlds, and what is the world of Dragon, if you can say that?
It's like I've done in my previous movies, it's a dystopian world.
Right.
But this is more accurate than the stories I've told before, because this is set in Mumbai and Calcutta.
Right.
Okay.
So the cities are real, everything is real. It's a story that I've built around the opium trade, the heroin trade, that did exist during, when the Britishers were there and after they left also.
Right.
So I think the world that I'm building, I'm just building an arena.
Okay.
I built an arena where the real drama takes place.
Yeah.
And you just basically want to understand the rules of anything, like whether you're playing football or cricket, you just need to understand what the rules are.
Yeah.
So you can
Follow
enjoy the drama
drama
that unfolds later.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I've tried to achieve with my first glimpse. And it's as real as I mean, it's a very realistic attempt at the 1967 period.
Right. So this is probably the first time. The reason I ask is because yes, the KGF world does exist, but you still shape it into a vision that is a little bit different, a little more cinematic, a little more vibrant. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. It's like there's a very specific color, there's a very specific tonality, like that. Even though this is set in post-independence India, and in very specific cities that actually exist, is there an attempt to shape those cities, in your words, a dystopian way?
I think so many of the great cities like London, New York were all dystopian cities at some point or the other.
Okay.
When the brotherhoods or the
Interesting.
gangsters had taken over.
Right.
So I think this is more of a depiction of a time like that.
Okay.
Where
Okay. So it's more maybe realistic and historically accurate than making a fictional world altogether. That it doesn't exist, but he created it.
imagine a city, imagine a city which is a very, very normal city, but you have a dictator,
Yeah.
or you have a gang lord,
Yeah.
sitting at the helm of affairs.
Yeah.
Things change. It becomes dystopian.
Yeah.
So it's a very natural setting that
Yeah.
we have. We're trying to attempt 1967,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
everything is absolutely normal. There's no fantasy to it.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
trying to play it as real as possible. But
Interesting.
We have put
I
somehow
like that.
people at the head of affairs.
Right.
So obviously it changes.
We're going to talk in detail about NTR, but before that, I want to talk about this line: "The only soil worth remembering is the one soaked in blood." Can you explain that?
That's a line that, that's a line that my wife came up with about 5 years back when we were collaborating with NTR first.
Okay.
Okay.
And it made a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, you remember only the great wars and what happened before that and what happened after that. You don't remember the small battles. By date, you can remember the big wars.
Yeah.
So it has a much deeper meaning to the movie
Yeah.
that we're making.
Okay.
And
It's a very interesting, fascinating line. You know about, the wars happening around right now, the things happening. Actually, where the blood is, spilled in that soil, those locations are the most famous ones. And the more peaceful places or simple places where nothing much happened, you don't know their name, you don't remember them. There's no history associated, strong history. But where violence has happened, where blood has been spilled, that is, remembered forever, or, in history is always, in the limelight. In that sense also you can look at it.
where I think after you watch the movie, you'll understand that that has a lot of sense to
Yeah.
what we're saying.
How long did you say you've been living with this idea of setting a movie with the Opium Wars as a backdrop?
For 5 years.
That's when you narrated that one line to NTR is when you started thinking about this?
Yeah.
And you have 6 writers on this
Wow.
film.
Okay.
The writing of it took around 3 years, you're saying?
No, I didn't have writers in the first 3 years.
Okay.
They came in only after that.
Only after
Okay.
that. Okay. So your writing alone took around 3 years.
Me and the hero, we used to have chatters. We used to have chats about this.
Okay.
And it's very interesting when we were first writing this that he asked me a question from Mahabharata. He asked me who's the winner of
Okay.
Mahabharata.
Interesting.
And I said Krishna, and I said probably Arjuna, and he said Shakuni is the real winner of Mahabharata.
Yep.
That's the only reason Mahabharata really happened, and that's why we remember it, because of that great war. And when he told me that,
Very
I
fascinating.
did not think about it in that perspective.
Because it was Shakuni actually that he wanted to, because what happened to his sister, he wanted to destroy the whole Aryavarta and the kingdoms, because what his sister had to suffer. And it led to the whole story is about revenge actually. He wanted to destroy the kingdoms, fight among each other. Like he was basically Baron Zemo of Civil War, That's why he wanted to do it. It was not just, about the Pandavas or Kauravas and their, ego battle or something like that. It was him who wanted to do this for his own purpose, revenge.
NTR is phenomenal with drama. I trust him with drama. When I go to him and I talk to him, I really trust him. It's not because I have to go to my hero to get his approval.
Yeah.
I really trust him with his drama.
His instincts for drama.
His instinct for drama is just phenomenal. There's not a single time that he's asked me about a scene and whether it is elevated enough, or if the shots are right, all of these things. But he asks me, is the drama right for this? And he's phenomenal with drama, so I trust him a lot. So when he told me about this, I immediately went to him and I told him a scene, which changed the course of the entire movie. That's how I and he sat down and we sat down.
Interesting.
And we wrote. Right. So usually what I do is I go to one audience that I trust to get a feedback. Obviously, I can't sit and narrate it to a host of people.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, NTR was absolutely phenomenal. The kind of inputs that he's put into this has been brilliant. And I'm very, very happy to be in an environment around him where we can have a conversation about drama.
That's
because usually
big praise actually, because usually it's all about how my character will be bigger and hero moments and this is what my fans want. It's more about that. But if he wants to focus on the drama, the dialogues, the tension between characters, then that tells you a lot about the person.
A director like me will get carried away to show only the big moments.
Yeah.
True.
Several times he has told me that, the big moments have to have drama. Otherwise, we don't have to have the big moments. So we wrote it together.
Yeah.
We bounced it off each other.
Yeah.
So
very
I think
interesting.
That space that we had, whilst he was doing Triple R and whilst I was doing KGF and Salar, we had multiple times where we just sat down and had a conversation.
Okay.
So we developed it over that period.
Lovely. And then you refined it with
of course,
your bunch of
all my writers.
All the writers. Okay. Just to clarify one point, when you say that post-independence India could have gone anyway, would you say that this is reflecting a kind of disillusionment, these rise of these anti-heroes?
Interesting question.
I think the heroes never arrived in all my stories. The heroes never arrived after 1947. It was the opportunities that arised to form empires, to form parallel governments.
Right.
And that is what I have depicted in all my movies.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not about the rise of the hero. The hero comes only when we have it in our we have a line in our trailer in the glimpse where he says, even the writer knows that when the villains play foul, that's when the hero comes into the story.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's exactly how it is. I looked at 1947 and post 1947 as more of an opportunistic period.
Right.
Because power vacuum, right? Like there was a power that had everything under control, and the moment they let go and left, now it's for anyone's game, right? Whoever gets the opportunity to catch that power wherever possible.
For vicious people.
Yeah.
Not for the heroes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're calling him a hero. What does Anil Kapoor then get called? Because Anil Kapoor in this teaser gets called, he's...
I'm calling him a hero because the whole world is calling him that, but he's our biggest villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We have other heroes in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need
Interesting.
a hero and a villain to be in a movie, so...
So that is, what we're seeing is, there could be some deception in it as well.
You want to look at it as a deception? It's an information that I've given out.
No, what I'm saying is, you're playing your cards so that...
I think even I got confused a second, but I think BR got confused that he's saying NTR, we are saying hero, but he is a villain. And I think he misunderstood. That's what I feel right now.
The audience gets an idea, but they're also kind of fully not told what is the thing, right? That's what I mean by deception.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
When I tell you that somebody's a villain, you don't know if he's a villain or not till you watch the movie.
Okay. Maybe I was wrong.
The information that we give out initially, me or any of the directors, is we want you to walk into the theater understanding that this is the character that somebody is going to be playing.
Yeah.
And if you see the character change or not change, that becomes the drama.
That becomes the drama. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about the look of the hero. He's leaner, he's fitter. Of course, in RRR, he was muscular. That's a different thing, but fit is not a problem. But he looks a very specific way, like a very specific kind of warrior. How did you design that look of NTR?
That's a very big story.
Okay.
A year and a half back, about a year and a half back, we were ready geared up to start filming the movie.
Okay. Maybe we'll get some answers about that rumor.
And we did a look with him. We shot, and we did a look test, and I just went up to him and I told him that if you became thinner for the role of the assassin, it would help.
Okay.
And he is, there's this Chinese saying, beware of what you wish for. And he became unstoppable after that. We didn't shoot for the next 4 months, and he lost about 15 kilos at one point of time. And I asked him to stop many times in between, because he started looking frail and became paler, but he didn't stop. He said, for the story that you are writing, I want you to get what you envisioned. And he just went. His wife was upset with me, his mother was upset with me, all his friends were upset with me. Everybody who knew him were upset with me. My whole team was upset with me. But I told them that was not my doing. I just told him to lose a little bit of weight. And he went berserk with it. He's that sort of a person, it's very difficult to if he's convinced with something, it's very difficult to get him out of that.
Right.
That's the stubbornness that I have not seen in anybody else. He just said, that is what you want. You want my cheeks to go down. You want my body to be leaner. You want me to look like an assassin.
And I noticed that, in the trailer, that he doesn't look a very heroistic. I guess he has muscles, he's fit, he's, very lean, because an assassin, it's not about strength and, being very heavy, but it's about being leaner, being, getting in and out and getting a job. Assassin, you have to, it's not just about killing people, it's about killing someone, coming back or getting out of it, without anyone knowing or something like that, being more stealth, you can, that's, I think stealth is the right word, like in and out and no one even knows. So you need that body, type.
Trained in Afghanistan, I will do it. And we spent the next 4 months looking at him suffer. And he suffered a lot, because somebody who has to lose about 15-16 kilos in just a space of, a few months. In the first 2 months, he had lost so much of weight that everybody was worried.
Yeah.
But he didn't stop. He absolutely didn't stop. And we were very worried. All the blame was put on me. Because on social media, it was everywhere that, he had some illness and he was not happy or something like that. I don't know what it was, but he's the true really mad man that I've seen.
But this was done in a scientific process with a trainer and all that, right?
Of course, he called his trainer. The moment I went and told him this, I think I discussed this with him at 7 in the evening.
Okay.
And he called his trainer. He was there at 7:30. And the next morning, he started his routine.
Wow.
And we had to
postpone
our shoot by a few months. But we were more than happy at the end of the day with the result.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the introduction of the villains that you have here. Now the introduction happens, or rather the big row of villains that you have, the introduction happens over the voiceover of the Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible, and the voiceover is that of the character of Rukmini Vasant, and she's holding a baby like the Madonna and child, like Mary and the baby Jesus.
I didn't notice a baby.
Are we going to say we can't talk about it or something like that? But I want to know if there's
talk about it.
But am I onto something with that connection, that there may be something biblical in this?
Isn't there something biblical in everything?
Okay.
I think,
Nice answer. He's a fascinating guy, yaar. I would love to spend, time and pick on his brain.
Philosophy runs everywhere.
Right.
So it all comes from these great books.
It all comes from these great books. Okay, we shall discuss this no further. Yeah, it's there for everyone to see. Okay. You've directed Yash, you've directed Prabhas, and now you've directed NTR. When you look at them, you have your discussions, you have your meetings, you lock your dates, you get them to do the looks, whatever it is. Then comes the moment where you go behind the camera and look at them for the first time, executing a scene that you have written. And what was that like with NTR?
NTR is, for the last 25 years, I've been a big fan of his.
Yeah.
And watching all these mass movies that he has done, and directing him finally. When I got the call first from my three movies, that that I had to go meet, and I was very, 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 very excited. At the same time, I was afraid that this persona, that I've seen on screen, the energy that he has, might be very, toxic to me.
Okay.
I was
Toxic, shout out.
fearful of that.
Toxic in what way?
There are actors who have set their pattern in what they want and what they want to do, and if you look at him, it feels like you can't change his mind
Yeah.
from the
Okay.
outside. And I usually want to fall in love with my heroes because we're literally married for a couple of years, and I have to fall in love with them. It was intimidating to go and meet him, but after we did, and the time that we spent, the practicality in which we approached the situation. Of course, he's family to me right now, and I can say that.
That's good.
That stubbornness is something that I understood, and he's brash with his stubbornness. He's not somebody who's going to hide his stubbornness,
Okay.
and I understood that. So there was no way that I'm going to go and tell him that you are supposed to act like this, you're supposed to walk like this. He used to do it, and there used to be very, very minor corrections, but I knew what he was giving. I didn't know what he was going to do with this character, but from the moment he walked out and he did what he did, I understood that he understood the character, and it was exactly where I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I was very happy, and I told him that also. So somebody like working with NTR is like, it's like he's on, he's self-programmed to do what he has to do.
Yeah.
And because he understood the character and he loves the drama of the movie. That's, I was very excited because he spoke about the drama so much that I wanted to see how it's going to come out on screen.
Yeah.
And we shot first. We started the movie with an action episode, and I was not able to see the full range of what you want to see the character do, because that's in a fight you basically the director has more work to do than the. But then we got to the talkie portions. And
Okay.
That just brightened my vision of what the movie was going to look eventually. You need to have that conviction of becoming that character, and he became very seamless with it. He's a star. He knows that he's a star, but he was more of Luger than he was an NTR on screen.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's good. That's what you want, right? Like, you want to see the character, not the
He could
actor.
have brought in the swagger, he could have brought in all of those things, but he just understood the character and he said, this is what I'm going to do. And I didn't have to do too much after that.
You just gave him probably the best compliment a director can give, which is, I understood that he understood the character. I mean, that's probably the best sync that can happen between a
That's
director
true.
and an actor.
Yes, and we've been writing this drama together.
Yeah.
For the, at least 3.5 years before we started the movie, we were writing the drama together. So, it was basically like, he used to tell me so many shots. And
That's
I had that
interesting.
confidence, when you go to unlearn something, it's more difficult than to learn something.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was wondering, with everything that he has done till now, and he's very intelligent. He watches world cinema, he watches all of those things, and he knows that he has to act in a certain way, but he wasn't doing that for all these years. And I wanted him to do something different here.
Right.
And there was no rigidness, there was no friction, there was absolutely nothing. He understood that this is how I should play Luger, and that is what he did, which just was absolutely seamless for me.
Fantastic. What did you, while discussing this over 3 years, tossing back ideas back and forth while you were doing your films and he was doing his films, did you guys discuss any reference movies like, we should do something like this, we should do something like that, we should try for something like this? Was that?
Interesting.
So I wanted to get away from the genre that I've already done,
Yeah.
the KGF, Salar, or dragon. I wanted to get away from that. And it was
Okay.
for a brief period, probably 15-20 days in between that, we thought that we should try something with mythology.
Okay.
Interesting.
But the story itself, is so fascinating. As a one-liner, when you can tell your story in a single line
Yep.
and get evoke a reaction from somebody, I think that you don't want to let that story go.
That's true.
So we
I
probably
think it's
had a
because
very-
it's hard, right? Like, because while you write, while you think of an idea, like you have so many ways of looking at it. But I think at the end, you have to get to that one line. That what is this story movie about? This one line, that's the most fascinating part. And may that one line may not encapsulate everything about the movie, but the core of the film. This is what the movie about.
very brief.
Like if KGF is about a son's promise to his dying mother, that's the core of the movie actually. The whole KGF and what he does to do and all of that, like these are the other elements how you get to the point, but the core is that. And that's how the movie ends.
Conversation about doing something else. But I think we were destined to do this.
Yeah. I'm asking in terms of look or feel or whatever it is. Did you, because you said, for example, World War movies, you brought up something else. So was there any
More than that, we referenced the 1960s.
1960s? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You look for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That space usually what a director wants to do by putting it in a period is to make it more believable with the unbelievable story they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
It becomes much easier.
Yeah.
Like you go
Interesting.
back 4,000 years ago to bring in a magic spell.
Yeah.
You can do all of those things. So we were trying to achieve the 1960s more than we were trying to reference from other movies.
Nice. Apart from, you said the dramatic portions, there is one portion that you give a specific amount of weightage to in the first glimpse. And again, I think you're going to say you have to see the movie to understand that. But there is where he's pointing and he's literally quivering with emotion. He's like shivering. His body's like literally shaking and his eyes are glowing with his intensity. You focus on that for about 10 seconds. What do you want to talk about that? So
No.
this is the first glimpse. It's completely devoid of drama.
Okay.
It's completely devoid of drama because I'm not telling you how the characters are interacting with one another. The moment I tell you that, the drama starts.
Yeah.
So we just thought, it's not because it's a very impressive shot of the great man. It's just that there is drama in the movie.
It's to give a hint of a flavor.
It's to give a hint of the drama that is going to come. Yeah.
Okay.
If I were to ask you, what is the USP of this film, apart from its hero, what would you say it is?
This is, as a director, I've evolved, obviously.
Okay.
I should
He has actually said that multiple times in this interview now. I want to know what that means.
evolve. And this is probably first time I'm telling my story through my characters without being very heavy-handed with the direction aspect. When I say that, it means that, my characters, all of them have a flavor to this.
Okay.
Everybody has a backstory. Every one of the characters that I showed you is not somebody who comes in for embellishment of, the story.
This is what I wanted to hear. This is exactly what I wanted to hear.
To just make it larger than life. All of them have a story. And I've told all my actors also this time that, I'm going to use the camera, I'm going to wield the camera far more lazily than I've done it in my previous movies.
Lazily.
Interesting
I've been
words.
very interactive with the camera by, changing angles, by doing that, by using a lot of motion.
Yeah.
This movie is going to have everybody tell the story to the audience. The story that, of course, I have written, but I want them to tell the story more. I've evolved. I've seen movies which have done very well in the past also, where you take back the characters home. And I've been a director who's been very event oriented with what I've done, and I've learned from what I've done. If I want to make it more
Interesting.
endearing, I want people to remember it a lot more. I want my characters to do the heavy lifting.
I hope BR asks more question about this, like what has he learned and all, because That's very fascinating what he says. Lazily, I think, like he was like very. I want to capture in this, camera angle. I want to this is how I'll shoot. This is how you do, and he's more, very on to like hands on with how everything will look, how the camera will move. And this time, like he's very lazy, as in like I just have the camera placed on you. You do all the storytelling, all the things you have to perform for your character. I'll just give you free space of where the camera has to be. You don't care about that. It's not about rigidness or be here, this is the marking, this is the composition, how this is how everything has to look. That I'm not going to be too worried about those things. I'll let I'll let the characters breathe. And maybe we see that in the editing also, that editing is not so sharp and quick and fast and rushed that there's no time to think about anything else. I think he wants to give more free time and space for the characters to say something, act something. I think that's always good for actors to really give in more and not just be be rigid about where the camera has to be and how he has to perform for that.
And the USP of this movie is going to be that you're going to take back a lot of characters home with you. Whether it is with their performances or whether it is with their emotion, all of that.
Right.
Every one of the characters that I've showed you.
So are you saying that in your earlier films, you probably focused on the main characters alone, and here you're focused on all the characters is that what you're trying to say?
No. Okay. I used to concentrate a lot on my events.
Okay.
Like I used to make it a very event-based movie.
Right.
Okay.
Like the event, the drama always led to like let me give you an example. In
Yes, please.
When the movie opens, there's Andrews who goes to Mumbai to get him income. I've not told you who Andrews is. I've not told you whether he has a wife or child.
Yeah.
This movie concentrates on every character, so we haven't wasted even one of these characters. We have got some brilliant actors to play every role.
Okay.
I made sure that they're all actors. They're not somebody who just look good for the screen.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very happy that we spent so much of time to write. And the first time, me and the hero, we decided that we're not going to talk about the length of the movie.
Okay.
So we're going to present the movie in a way where it is going to be seamless, that the characters are going to be telling the story. That was a prerequisite of what we were.
Interesting.
We wanted to do. And for that,
are we going the Dhurandhar route? I wonder.
Needed the best actors for the particular role.
So to sum up, what was the experience of working with NTR?
A nuclear plant, right?
Okay.
He powers it. His
nice way to put it.
enthusiasm for cinema, his enthusiasm for drama, and I've said this before also, his enthusiasm for drama is just absolutely unparalleled. He looks at a movie like it's a story. So it has to be convincing as a story before we, make it into a movie. Mm-hmm. He loves the characters. He loves the drama of the other characters also. He's very interested in what somebody else is saying. So it feels like, we're a team.
Right.
It doesn't feel like I have been brought in to elevate the hero.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy hearing that. Like, this is actually I think the demand of today's world. Like in Indian cinema, we need to focus more on the story and the characters than how the actor will look.
Because I'm known to do that.
Yeah.
To give this mass appeal. But he's not worried about that at all. He knows that comes with the drama.
Yeah.
It has to come very organically with the drama.
Yeah.
And the journey that we have had is about the story.
Right.
It's more about the story than it's about making a movie.
Right.
He's been very specific with that, and that was a very new experience for me to understand that, first you got to get the story right before you get the movie right.
Right.
That also drove me to think that, the pen is mightier than the sword in many ways. He's somebody who's so stubborn in the way he thinks, and I'm saying stubborn in a very good way.
Yeah.
In his beliefs of what the movie should be, and that has rubbed off on me.
Right.
In terms of not changing my storytelling, but in telling the story itself, or in writing down the story. So it's been we have this. We have a chat like, it's not like a meeting room that we sit down
Right.
and we talk about. It's just about drama.
Right.
That's probably one of the highlights that I have, that I can gather, when I tell India, because also I think his life has been a drama. It's pure drama, and the people close to him will always understand why he is the way he is.
Right.
Always.
Okay.
And I'm absolutely privileged to be around a man like that, even as an individual, not just as a film personality. And
Okay.
I think we're going to make a great movie together.
Fantastic.
That's good to hear.
Because you mentioned that this is the last of the trilogy, I want to talk about two aspects of your films that are very, very specific as a director that you do. One is the color palette of the film, and one is the music of the film. In what way do these elements in Dragon continue from the other films, and in what way do these
Good
differ
question.
from those films?
So it's been a point of debate that not just people have come to me and spoken to me. Also, it has been a point of debate with my family also, that why do you continue to make movies which look very similar?
Okay.
I'm not here
Okay.
to present Prashanth Neel. I'm not here to present the brand.
No.
I'm here to tell you a story. My job is
Okay.
to tell you a story, and all the stories that I have chosen
Right.
have the elements that you just asked about, the music and the lighting.
Yeah.
All three of them demand that.
Yeah.
And if I change that just because somebody is telling me this,
Yeah.
somebody is telling me that I have to change my style, then I'm doing injustice to the story.
Sure.
I've stopped listening to people. I had an Instagram account and a Twitter account a few years back. I deleted it because I was putting out my opinions on the page.
Right.
So now I don't want to hear anybody else's opinions. The only people's opinions that matter to me is the people who are working in this movie, who are making this story with me.
Yeah.
My hero primarily,
Interesting.
because we both have the highest stakes in the movie.
Yeah.
I
That's
listen to
true.
him, and he understands what the story is.
Yeah.
And he understands the color palette that I'm working in right now is very true to what the story has to reflect.
Right.
So I will not change it just because somebody comes and tells me that, I've been repetitive in.
I like that answer. People may say that answer is attitude and you should listen to your criticism, you should learn, you should not live in your bubble. That is there, but I think he's learning while watching other films. And he says he has evolved, he has changed a bit, Like you can be learning in that sense also, but I think as a director, right, this is a quality you need to have. Like you can listen everything, but you have to focus on what you want. If the story demands that palette, you have to go for that. If you have guns, you have this. Maybe, as he said, it may be a similar story. It's a trilogy. That's why they look the same, and maybe that's why he's saying it's the last one, because next the movie he's making is going to be looking very different. He doesn't want to go in the same palette, and the story will be different. It will demand something else. So he's not forced. Like Salar should not be colorful and saturated. That's not the world it is in, right? So it's not the story the world is creating. It demands that palette. So just because people on the internet says why you same, they look the same, and this and that, doesn't matter. The story he wants to tell, the way he wants to tell, he'll do that, which is the best for it according to them and the people he's working with, right? And that's why you need good people around you which understand what you're doing. They are not just saying yes to everything, and then you end up in that bubble, and that's not good.
My attempt of storytelling. It's not at all because of that. When you watch the movie, you'll understand that this world requires a certain aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
And I'm putting that aesthetic to it. It's my job as a director to not
Yep.
get carried away by what somebody else has to say. I have to be adamant about my beliefs as a storyteller. It's not about my OCD, or it's not about my liking. I'm basically making the movie for people to like.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would make different movies. I love making different movies, but I'm making these movies because I know that people will like it in theater. I'm assuming that they'll like it in theater, and that's what I'm attempting to do once again here.
Right. What are the logistical challenges that you had to face in this movie that were maybe a little different from the challenges that you faced in your earlier films?
It's the first time I went out to shoot in a foreign country. We went to
Okay.
Jordan to film some of the portions.
Okay.
But I won't call it a difficulty. It becomes
I guess the Afghanistan sequences.
part of reflex as you go on. If I still call it a difficulty to shoot an action movie, it's not injustice to people that I'm working with.
Yeah,
You know, I have a great bunch of technicians. I have a great direction department. I have a great DOP department. I have a fantastic bunch of producers, you know, who give me everything that I want on a whim and a fancy. So I shouldn't be saying that trying to tell my story because it has got a bigger scale is a challenge to me.
Yeah.
The only challenges that we always have is to convince the audience that they are sitting down in a theater and get into the world of the 1960s or 1940s or whatever we are trying to present.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think, you know, it's just the attention to detail which is more of a challenge.
Right.
Because once you make a period movie, you have more of that attention to detail. Is somebody wearing a watch from today's era, or is somebody, you know, is a cell phone left out on the table? Those are the simple challenges that we probably go through.
Yeah. Actually, that is right, because when you're going back to the 60s and filming in a modern day India, that's, I mean, unless you have sets all over, it's going to be quite difficult. And,
absolutely difficult. But that's what we chose to do.
That's what you chose to do. So, about KGF, you said that it became a pan-India film by accident, but Salar and Dragon are intentionally designed to appeal to, like, it's going to be released in 5 languages and so on and so forth. What makes Dragon pan-India?
Interesting question.
And we never start claiming to say that, you know, a movie is pan-India or not till the audience says it's pan-India.
Okay, but you are targeting
obviously everybody will
the
do.
Multiple,
When we sit down to write a story, we try to write the best story in the world.
Right.
We try to make the best movie in the world. It's only up to the audience whether they think it is the best movie or
Good
not.
answer.
Right. So the structure of pan-India today, I think it should be lost by now. You know, the word pan-India should
no longer
probably get phased out over a period of time. It's not because a director who's done KGF is attempting to do once again, so his name is out there, or NTR has done so many movies which have gone out there, that, you know, we are attempting to do the same thing. We are trying to tell a very universal story, and that I think has more appeal than the scale and you know, the glitz in it.
And today, you know, Pan India became a thing after Bahubali, and today Pan India is not the, you know, standard. It should not be. Now it's about pan globe, you know. Like, we are making movies in India that want to go abroad, you know, want to take over the world. It's not just about India anymore, you know. So it's always about making a great movie, and that will travel, you know. That's always the case.
Right.
It's about the story that we are trying to tell.
Right. The universality becomes by default something that appeals to everybody.
Obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be attempting to do something like that.
Right. Now that this is kind of going to, there's an actual release date attached to Dragon, you're not obliged to talk about this, but what are in your head, do you have things swimming about Salar 2, KGF 3, all these things that are kind of out there, but you have to definitely, you know, give a closure to Salar. You have to probably kickstart a KGF, I don't know. But or right now you've kind of said all of that can wait until this releases.
So I have a responsibility right now to the story that we have written for Dragon. Responsibility to the people who are working in it. And my focus is right now just completely on Dragon. Beyond that, I don't think I can think beyond that right now.
Okay.
There are discussions that come and go, but as of now, I know my complete attention and focus is completely on Dragon.
Oh, I understand that completely, but what I was asking is also sometimes during an off moment you might get an idea and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to note this down for a future date. You know, that kind of a thing.
Right now, everything that I'm writing is for Dragon.
It's for Dragon. Okay, that's cool.
Even if I get an idea in Salar, I'm going to keep it for Dragon.
So when
he's very loyal to what he's working on.
When you're done with this trilogy, what are the genres that you want to kind of attempt next?
More colorful movies.
More colorful films.
Yeah. Probably.
Give up the dark palette that Prashanth Neel is known for. We might finally see pink in a Prashanth Neel movie.
Yeah.
But seriously, do you have any specific genres in mind?
I've written a mythology, which I've been yearning to make for
I think he has talked about this before also.
a couple of decades now.
Oh my god.
and probably I'll get to that eventually
Right.
after I have fulfilled all my commitments that I have now in the near future.
Okay.
Do you remember this thing that you said when you first approached Humale and you told them a family story and they said you have something else and then you narrated a scene from KGF and then that became that movie, and does that family story still have a place in the lineup?
Yeah, that was for Apu sir. That was for Puneet Rajkumar,
Okay.
and probably it's gone with him.
Okay. I can understand that. You see somebody in that
Yeah.
thing and you can't think about that again. So finally, Prashanth, what is Dragon about? If you want one thing people to take away from this first look that's come out, what is it that you want them to take away?
From what we have communicated in the teaser is very contrary. It's like I told you, it's just a setting.
The setting,
Yeah.
the playground, so to speak.
But the real drama of the movie is that we are attempting and we probably will end up making one of the most patriotic movies ever seen.
Oh, okay. That's the same response I had. Oh my god. Even I'm what?
That I'm a little bit in.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that answer. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
that's the attempt.
Okay.
And the way things are shaping up with the beautiful
Okay.
actors that I have, and I think I will achieve something like that.
Oh, wonderful. Because I was talking to somebody yesterday and without saying anything, they said that if you ask Prashanth about the real core of this movie and if he replies, it's going to be really shocking and surprising. Maybe this is what it was. I don't know. Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little more?
No, nothing more.
Okay.
Good,
Well,
good.
Thank you so much for your time, Prashanth. It's
Thank you
always
so much, sir. Thank you
a
for
pleasure
having me
talking
on.
to you, and I follow your career with intense interest because that word that you use in your interviews a lot, larger than life, you try to do a lot within that, and it's always interesting to see somebody with a very, you call your hero stubborn, but I think you are also a very, very stubborn person, and it's interesting to see you carry on with your journey. So all best wishes for Dragon, and 11th June, 2027.
Yeah.
Look
All
forward to
right.
that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was the interview, and what an interview. So good, yeah. Like, it's always, fun to listen to people who has this distinct voice, and they have proven that might on, the big screen multiple times, and it's not random. No, it's they won the movie they made good, and the next movie is okay. Like, they're so crystal clear in their approach. I think that's so hard. I think that's the biggest thing. You're always in doubt, you're always unsure about things, and listening to him, how assertive he is, what he knows, what he wants, he does that. Like, clarity is too good. Clarity makes everything easy to do. And the way he talks and the way his ideas have, I want to know more about what he thinks of these films, what films he watch, what he likes, what is his favorite film, what he goes back to. I want to know more about the person. That's why I said I want to sit with him and talk. And I think the best thing right now we could get was this interview with BR. And I don't think he's gonna do more interviews with some other people because he trusts BR that he'll ask some good questions and he'll be able to answer them. But otherwise, a lot of people want to just get bites from him about other things. And even when they're talking about the hero, right, that's very talk about Julian NTI's his birthday and all, but even that he made it more fascinating. Like, I loved hearing what I heard, and so different than he's very hardworking, he's a great very humble. No, I didn't get, he's stubborn, he's a freak, he's a madman. This is what I learned, but in a good way. That's what I'm talking about. And wow, this was a great interview. Thank you if you're watching it. Thank you for this interview, BR and Gallata Plus. And if you haven't seen my Dragon reaction, check it out here right now. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.